right, so this week, this lab, what we're going to do is basically going to finish this site. We've done the bit with it, so now we're just going to kind of, you can see this is a lot easier than doing some of the other stuff. So go to your site, and then you just want to select it and make sure you hit start. You can open up local, obviously, first. Start site, and then I usually like click view site just so that I have a version of it. And it popped up over here. Pull that out. Pull this over here. So as it pops up, it's being very slow. Alright, so this is what we made last time. Looks acceptable. And then I'm also going to go ahead and click on admin. And this will also own the admin here, so I kind of see what we got. Alright, so and it's going to bring me to the dashboard. Oh, I didn't log into this already. Well, anyway, it should bring up the admin thing. And then it's VCP for the username, VCP for the password, because we made it the same, so that way it'd be easier to remember. Okay. So what I want to do is cover a couple of things, just how to quickly make some adjustments and stuff like that. All right. So right off the bat, when I'm looking at this site here, right, you can see I think it looks okay, but to try and make this a little bit, I don't know, easier for you guys to understand and see and what have you, let's say that I wanted the background to be a different color, right? And I believe the theme does have an option for that, but I want to show you this just because if you had a theme that, let's say, is very bare bones, it just doesn't have certain things in it, or it doesn't give you an option for something that you want to change, there are ways of changing the actual CSS of the site. This here is actually using the same sort of code to style it as we've been writing. It's using Cascade Style Sheets. So in the dashboard, what we want to do is go to Appearance, Theme Editor. Now, what it's going to do right off the bat is it's going to give you business. It's going to scold you and say you shouldn't do this. And it's right, you shouldn't do it. But just to understand, what you normally want to do, and we cover this in web design too, is normally you want to create what's called a child theme. And basically what it is, it's a theme that rides on top of this theme that you put your code on. And the reason why you want to do that is because if we were to update, let's say I write code in there and I'm all happy with it. If later on I were to update my theme, security or they change something or what have you, it will overwrite whatever you've already written, and so lose anything that you've done. So that's why it's not a good idea to write directly into it, but for our intents and purposes, I just want to show you where this is, and then you can do it. You could always just keep like a text document somewhere of your stuff and then just slap it back on in if you update. So let's say you got to update it, you could just scroll down, grab code, update it, then put it back up and slap your code back in there. But that's the reason why a little message came up. I just wanted you to be aware. Okay, so you'll see that we're basically inside of this area, and what it does is that whatever themes you have installed, you can select them here. It should be Shapely or whatever one you currently have installed. And then it shows you all the files basically of this theme. There's all these different files that are working together to make what we're seeing. Most of the technology, most of the language of websites are actually not super complicated. It's just it's a lot of different stuff together, as you can kind of see here. Now, we don't really need to do anything with any of this. The one we want is Style Sheet. So you just make sure you grab Style Sheet, and you can see it's style.css. And if I scroll all the way, actually, so first off, if there was something you wanted to change that you knew what it was called, you could go over here and, okay, I was reopening it up because I clicked on it. That was dumb of me. So for instance, like say I want the way that it treats like whether we visited stuff, or on hover. If I want to change the way that it does by default, I can change the code that's in here already, and that would I could change it right there, right? So whatever formatting it right now, that's right here, and you could totally just go through and change any of these items. I'm just going to do one thing just so you can see that it's working. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here. So all the way down. And we're just going to add one bit. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it so that instead of this like white, I'm just going to make it an off-white because white's just a little too blaring for me. So I'm just going to I'm going to select the body since the body's the whole thing and do quote, the braces, background, hyphen, color, and then I got to put a color in there. I don't know what I want. So I'm just going to go to W3 schools, scroll down because it's always right there. There's the color picker, and I'm just going to find my color this way. And we'll use the HTML5. Doop. And we want to go down here. And I just want to do almost white, but just a little bit off. We'll say that, okay? And then I'll hit OK, and then it'll give me all my things here. So I can choose any one of these. I'm just going to go with the hex code. This is the simplest. And all I'm going to do now is Control V and semicolon. Oops, that was L. Semicolon. There we go. And hit Update File. Okay. Now I can add any code I want in there, and I can change any of this code in here. So just be aware that that's a possibility. All right. Let's go back over here. So I'm going to click on this, and let's just refresh it. I can see what it did. Probably should have done more of a start color so you can see a little bit more obvious. Hopefully it's enough to, I don't know if you can tell that it changed. You can tell, right? But put in red, you'll see. The background will then be red. But I just want to do some subtle that would just dampen it down a little bit to make it a little bit, easier to work with. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. So basically you can change the theme style right inside of the theme editor panel here, and you make these adjustments and things like that. So later on in the future, when you're working on your own, if you need to do something you can't find, this is one way of making it happen. All right. The other thing you can do is this. So let's say we're in here. I want to change something on my page inside of here, right? You can actually do that if you go to Customize. So I've already logged in. The other way of doing this is if you go to, let's say, scroll up, Pages, and you go to the page, and you'll see an option for Customize. That'll bring you right to Customize as well. So either way, if you're logged in, you see a little bar on the top. But I'm going to go ahead and click on Customize. And it's going to bring this up. Okay. And we can adjust all these settings like we could before. So I'm not going to do any of that. But there is this thing that says additional CSS. Now, what this allows me to do, I could basically, kind of like there, I can write CSS that will target things on this page. Again, better to still do a child theme and all that, but we'll use it here. If you're just trying to barrel through it, this is a way of doing it. Now, let's say I wanted to go through and I wanted these to look bigger, right? Like I don't like the size of them. I could go ahead and do that, right? Now, I might not know how to get these selected. So what I can do is down, the easiest way to go about doing this is to find out what these are called. Is actually just use something that's built into your browser. This is not WordPress specific. You can do this on any web page. It's one way of stealing things. If you're trying to find like, oh, I like the way they did something, you can look it up this way. You click over here, and then it's Web Developer, and then I think on Chrome it's Extra Tools or Tool. I can't remember what it's called. But if you look through, you'll see a bunch of options, and then you'll click on this, and this is called Inspector. I think theirs might be called Console or something. But click through, and you'll see what it'll do is it basically shows you the code of the site that you're looking at. Okay. I know a lot of people prefer Google, but I actually kind of prefer this because you can hover over them here, and it will actually highlight the item down here. I find that a little bit easier to work with. So let's say I'm looking at this. Okay, we got this. Yep. All right, so I can see it down here in my code, right? You can also just hover through here, and you're going to see it's going to highlight all the various things. So actually, one thing I want to do is I don't like this color lib thing, so let's get rid of that first. Because I don't want people knowing that I got it from them. There might be an option to turn that off too, but I'm not sure. But we can get rid of it. So if I hover over here, I'm going to scroll down. You can see, okay, it's all the way towards the bottom because of the footer, right? So there's footer inner, and then what you want to do is get as specific as you can, okay? So, but I can see the same. It says container footer. You can see it's going across the whole thing. That's fine. But I'm going to expand it. And then we got before I don't need. And I'm just going to keep going. Okay, that's doing, at least it's row, so it's not very specific. And then I got this before section, site info. Okay, that's getting a little bit closer. And there it is, footer credits, right? So I want to target that, and I want to move it. So I'm going to right-click on top of it, and we're going to go to copy. And we want to do CSS Selector. Now I'm on Firefox, so it's going to be different if you're using Google. And I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to Control V, or Command V if you're on a Mac, to paste it. And then I'm just going to go, so that is the class of what this is inside. I'm going to do display. And I'm going to say none. And that will actually remove it. So if you're trying to get rid of something, you're like, I don't like the stupid thing that's in there, and I can't find a way to turn it off. That's one way of doing it. You can target it and then actually remove it. There's ways about adding stuff too, but we'll just go with that. Now, let's say I want to adjust these like I was saying before. I don't know what I want to do about them, but I want to adjust them in some way. So what I'm going to do is scroll up, and I'm just going to look. I'm going to hover down. Customize. Actually, see, this is all customized. This is all for this panel here. Even this stuff's showing up. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Now we're getting into it. So let me see. Elementor. Getting closer. Okay. All right. Array. No, that's not it. I want to target the pictures themselves. So let's see. Gallery item. Okay, so here's the gallery item. That's what I think I'm going to grab. So I'm going to right click over it. And if you can't copy it, just look to see what it is. So that says gallery item and it's a class. So instead of copying, I'll just show you if you can't copy. Just do dot gallery hyphen item. Now, this is going to be good enough because I actually want to target the image that's inside of it. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm actually use space img, which does the child of whatever's inside it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do width. Let's see if this works. 100%. And that's going to actually make them bigger than they were. So you can see if I take this out, they were that size, and if I put them in, it makes them that size. So now they're just bigger. I just want them bigger, right? We'll say, oh yeah. And if I want to add anything else about them, I could also add them. But I basically targeted them through this code in order to be able to, add more to it. Okay. So, and this is the difference because, like I said before, is that obviously most websites use this sort of system, right? Some sort of CMS, content management system. Usually WordPress, but there's a lot of other ones out there as well. And that's fine, and that's great. That's great, but obviously you're going to be limited to whatever they show you over here. Because you know how to write HTML and CSS, and you understand those things, you can dig in deeper and do things that you really want to have happen by knowing how to write it manually. So that's why we spend so much time on that, so that we can employ it now. Comparatively, this is much easier. All right, so I'm going to call that good. I'm just going to hit X on this so I don't use it anymore. And you can also do some other tricks, by the way, with the console, but I'm not going to cover those now. But there's some others you can do that are, a little sketchy. But we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to hit publish, and now that's published. So we're going to call that good as far as I just want you to see how to do, basically to add your own CSS. That's what we're going with here. And the next one, what I'm going to do in the next video, we're going to make some subpages, which isn't going to be anything too new. And then we're going to make a menu. And then that'll be it.